Hi everybody, how are you doing? It's Roy here at Teesside Therapy Clinic. Just another update on contemplations in the car while I'm waiting for a client to pop up. I'm waiting down the road. I do outreach, so I do see a lot of clients out in their own homes, and this is one of those occasions where I'm sat just pondering on things, so I thought I'd do a quick video. So yeah, the things that I've been thinking about quite recently, and maybe it's relevant in my life, but it's certainly come into the private practice that I do as well, is this black and white thinking, this dichotomous idea that it's either all or nothing, yes or no, and like I say, black or white. And I think that's something that our brains are quite naturally attuned to. It's certainly something that, ancient old wisdoms and, Buddhism and different philosophies and some of the Greek philosophies have looked at over the years, is this idea of freedom of thought and of flexibility of thought, rather than attaching anything to one particular thing or forming a full belief and sticking with that belief that it's all that. And I was talking to a client a couple of days ago. If you're one of the clients that I've had this discussion with, don't worry, I've had a few discussions recently about this with people, this whole black and white thing. And I posed the question, is it possible for somebody to be happy and sad at the same time? And initially they were like, no, that's impossible, you can't be happy and sad. I was like, okay. So, and I used an example, and then later on I found a different example that I thought a little bit more appropriate, I guess. What about when you get divorced? Or what about a person that gets divorced? They experience, see, I don't want to attach most people or to generalize for most people, but I think it's a bit of bittersweet, isn't it? There's a bit of curdled delight going on there, where somebody might be happy that it's finally, they can finally shut the door on it, it's a chapter that's ended, and they can move on with their life. So there's a bit of happiness, but there's also a bit of sadness as well, because nobody ever gets married with a plan of ever getting divorced, so there's a bit of sadness that ended. So it's a bit of mixed emotions, and I guess that'll lead into a different video at some point in the future around mixed emotions, because that's kind of how my brain works. So I'll probably start contemplating, I already have actually started contemplating the different range of emotions that we can experience at any one time. Anyway, back onto this black and white thinking. It's quite ancient old stuff that, like I say, different philosophies over the years have talked about the flexibility of thought. And a lot of our psychological unwellness, a lot of our struggles that we get, is that we attach something to something, and we put a lot of energy into holding that belief or holding that attachment to that thing. And it could be anything whatsoever. And we use so much energy holding that in place that it's almost really difficult to change that belief and to change that idea. And I've talked about this on a previous video. If we lose someone, in whatever way we lose someone in our life, we held this belief that this person was in our life, and then all of a sudden they're not. That means that we have to put a lot of energy into changing those belief systems around that particular individual. I was on training 2020. I did a transactional analysis 101 course with the Burn Institute. I won't go into the boring details of transactional analysis, although I find it really fascinating. Anyway, I did this training with a lovely lady called Adrian Lee, and she talked about she'd lost her husband, I think it was within 6 months of that time, of that course being run. And she talked about how she'd had her husband she'd been with for 50 years. That's a long time. It's longer than I've been alive. And each of those times, and during that time, she said she'd been married to 7 different people, because he'd changed loads of different ways. And now that he'd passed away, she was married to all of those people plus the deceased version, which is an amalgamation of all of those people as well. And I thought that was quite beautiful, and it just showed how her ability to update her system each step of the way, to update her beliefs each step of the way, and not to get locked into one particular idea. It wasn't black or white, it was flexible in the way that she thought. And I've met quite a few people, and I guess I'm a little bit guilty of this. I have met quite a few people over the years that are very flexible in the thoughts, and I thought I was, but actually when I went for therapy and when I talked to therapists, and as I've developed myself, I've come to realise actually there's lots of things that I am very flexible with, and there's also lots of things that I'm maybe not so flexible with. And then that gets me to thinking, actually, is that idea that I am flexible, I am not flexible, that needs to be flexible in itself. I'm sorry if I'm getting a little bit complicated here, but it's that thing, it's that same sort of idea that we're not attaching one particular belief onto ourselves. And it's something I said a couple of days ago on a video. Is it possible for a good person to do bad, or is it possible for a bad person to do good? And is that even possible to have somebody who's bad? And is that even possible to have somebody who's good? Is it fair really to label someone based on their behaviour, or to understand that we are not our behaviour, which is one of the I've lost the word, the pre-contemplation, no, I've lost the word. Oh no, NLP, a mastery NLP practitioner and a car. Presupposition, I knew I'd get it. Anyway, it's one of the presuppositions of NLP is that we don't, that we are not our behaviour. Us and our behaviour are two different things, because we've got, us is a very transient concept. It changes over time, and one moment we're this and the other moment we're that, and it depends who we're with and what's happening with us and what emotions we've got. Are we hungry? Are we sad? Are we thirsty? You know, we've got all these different things, and our body is an ever-changing thing. Heracles once said, a man never steps in a river twice, for he is never the same man and it is never the same water. And that's true for us. Every single second we change physiologically, although it might not be visible sometimes, but we change. So yeah. Anyway, the ramblings of a madman in a car. I wonder if we start calling it that. I'm calling it contemplations in the car. You can call it what you like, but it's just my thought processes for the day. We're on to 7 minutes now, so I'll leave it right there. Thanks very much for watching this video. Feel free to subscribe and like the YouTube channel. Feel free to like my Facebook page, Teesside Therapy Clinic, and have a look at my website, teessidetherapy.co.uk. Again, thanks very much for watching this video. Hope all is well. The sun's only just starting to come out, so it's been raining all morning. Hopefully we have a nice weekend. Take care. Bye bye.